MMA. MMA. What's this stand for? AK, what's it stand for?
Oh, mixed martial arts. Oh no! Oh, I'm just like Start again.
Boo.
Start again. Run it back.
All right.
Oh,
Bear
no.
with us. We'll be back after these words. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Welcome
just
to the
pretend
UFC
that didn't
267 post-fight show. For the love of God, it has been a day. And gentlemen, we got AK, we got Casey here. AK, let me start with you. You are the Prince of Positivity. We are going to begin on to the next one tomorrow, talking about Glover Teixeira, the brand new light heavyweight champion of the world. He goes out there, wins the first round against Jan Blachowicz. He's winning the second round, hurts Blachowicz, gets it back to the ground, submits him in round two, and the 42-year-old, or the recently turned 42-year-old from New England is a world champion. Isn't MMA the best, AK? Isn't MMA the best?
I mean, we were saying this last year when, Jan won the world title. We were like, man, I can't believe, I guess it was 37-year-old Jan Blachowicz is a UFC champion. And now it's, man, I can't believe 42-year-old Glover Teixeira is a UFC champion. So, yeah, it is amazing. And it feels deserved. I know a lot of people are kind of, not a lot of people, I should say, our own Jed Meshew kind of had this take that was like, oh, man, isn't it going to look weird if Glover wins and a 42-year-old guy is sitting at the top of the light heavyweight division? Who cares? Who cares about his age? He's right now has a claim to be the best light heavyweight in the world. I'm sure it will be disputed, just as Jan's was, especially early on when John Jones was still in the picture. I don't think he's maybe not as much of a factor anymore. But given that the top 7 or 8 of light heavyweight is actually pretty lively again, you are going to have people who will say, yeah, but how long is he going to hold on to it? And is he just going to be one and done? And you know what? I think for today, we can say it doesn't matter. It happened. He's in the books forever. I don't believe in the whole, you have to defend it or you're a paper champion. Once you win that belt, you are officially a UFC champion all through history. Again, context, and not all champions are created equal, but he's in there. He's in the books, and it is a very, very lovely thing to see.
What do you think, Casey? I mean, you're a guy that's getting ready to make his amateur MMA debut. You're working hard. You're waking up early, pedal to the metal, getting ready to step in that cage in a couple of months and to see what Glover Teixeira has done on the 5-5 after 10 fights. He got absolutely deaded by Carl Roberson at the Barclays Center 2 years ago in 2019. The man has come back and now is a world champion. This is unbelievable.
It's great. I see nothing negative about this at all. This is it just shows you, man. Like, this is just hard work. Keep doing it. Keep winning. You saw Glover. Glover's like, this sucks. Like, training, waking up every morning, your body's breaking down. You just your whole life is just dedicated to this. And he did it the right way, I guess. He didn't have to trash talk. He didn't have to, I don't know, he didn't have to not be himself. He was always Glover Teixeira. He didn't have to fake it to get that title shot. And, if John Jones doesn't retire from the 205 division, maybe this never happens. I don't know. But the way things worked out, it's a great story. And I hope people don't try to twist this into a negative thing. It's like, oh, an old guy won it. Is he going to win 10 fights like John Jones? I don't care. If he loses his next fight to Yuri, if he loses his next fight to whoever, I don't care. Glover Teixeira came back from a dominant title loss to John Jones a few years back, came back and won the damn belt. Freaking awesome. What a story. I love it. Glover Teixeira rules. And every MMA fan should be happy.
Yeah, I meant to say was he was almost colded by Carl Roberson. He didn't get cold because he came back and won that fight, but he was in big, huge trouble in that fight. But I mean, to go from there to where he's at right now, still just absolutely incredible. Apologies for the mess up there. It's just an incredible story.
It's an incredible story, and I think maybe it was Nolan King or a reporter, suggested is Glover Teixeira kind of the greatest unlikely 205 champion or one of the greatest UFC, most unlikely champions in UFC history. Actually, I think it's Jan. I think Jan is actually still I think Jan was still even a more unlikely champion because Glover was always an elite 205er. Jan was kind of on the brink of getting cut, I think, multiple times. So regardless, there's no use really ranking who's the most unlikely champion. Glover did it. He did it dominantly. I picked Glover to win because clearly I know what I'm talking about. Because and it was just super, man. It's like it just looks like a good dude, and it's gonna be a big shock when we go to next week, because next week's main event is not gonna be, as far as the build-up, will not have the same energy and that this week had.
Yes, I don't think Kamaru Usman will be handing Colby Covington a beer to put in his fridge for after the fight at UFC 268, but that's a conversation for another time. It's probably going to be an ugly build to MSG, if we're being honest, but they're selling pay-per-views, and that's what sells pay-per-views. But AK, I want to go back to you because here's what I continued to see on Twitter after the moment. Let's praise Glover Teixeira for getting to the top of the mountain, but what he should do is he should take that title on the top of the mountain and just leave it there and crawl back down, because I don't want to see him fight Yuri Prochazka. I don't want to see him fight some of these young bucks. I've seen this time and time again since Glover won the title. Just retire. Don't fight Yuri. Yuri will crush you and you won't be the champion anymore. I think he's got a shot against Yuri. Like, Yuri is a dangerous, scary dude, but Glover is a seasoned veteran. He did the damn thing tonight against Jan Blachowicz. Were you on the side that I'm on, where it's just like, dude, let the fight play out? Or were you kind of hoping that Glover won the title, rode off into the sunset as a world champion, something that a lot of people didn't think he would do in his career?
I mean, as a fan, selfishly, I want to see him continue fighting. I mean, there's also that part of me he's been fighting for a long time. He's taken a lot of damage. I want to see him retire with all his faculties intact and to be able to play with his children and all that. But as a the fight fan part, I want to see him keep fighting, and I agree with what you're saying about the Prochazka thing. Like, should he not want to go out that way? First of all, he's the kind of guy, he'll want to go out on his shield. You know, it's cool to go out in a high. I'm sure if tomorrow he changes his mind and decides, you know what, I don't want to fight again, I'm sure he'll be very fine with that decision. But at the same time, I'm sure the current thinking he has now, where he's like, no, I want to fight. I want to defend this title. I'm the champion now. I'm sure that high, he won't regret it. He won't regret it later, no matter what happens in the next fight. And the thing with Yuri is, of course, I bet Yuri, I bet he'll be, probably by the time fight night rolls around, like maybe a 3-1 favorite, maybe minus 250 at worst. But if you thought, I'm sure a lot of people would have thought that Blachowicz would have been a good challenge for him. I don't think anyone would assume he would have killed Jan, right? They might have picked him to beat Jan, but I don't think they would have thought it was a blowout. So if you think that, I know matchups matter, but if you think that Jan would have had a chance, well, Glover just beat him. So why can't Glover have a chance to beat Yuri Prochazka? So I'm very much looking forward to that fight. I'm sure Glover is too. And again, whatever happens, you can't take away Glover winning the title. You're not taking away Matt Serra winning the title. You're not taking away Forrest Griffin winning the title. Doesn't matter what happened next. These are great moments in MMA, and they're not soiled by what happens after.
Casey, did you see when Glover Teixeira it was brought up about Yuri Prochazka? They showed Yuri in the crowd, and Glover finally found him. He goes, "Where is he at? Come down here." And he sees him, and he's like, "Oh yes, you and me, we're gonna fight." And Yuri Prochazka's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he goes, "Yes, in May. We'll fight in May." And the drop on his face. Like, oh no, May? I gotta wait 7 months to fight this guy? I thought that was brilliant gamesmanship by Glover Teixeira. Yes, I know you want to take some time off, but I think he had this planned. I think that was a 42-year-old move, being like, this guy wants to fight. He wants to fight as soon as possible. I'm going to make him wait over a half a year before he has to fight me again. Now he has a decision to make. Do I want to wait another 7 months to fight for a world title? Or do I want to risk it all and fight Jan or fight Ankalaev or fight Rakic or fight somebody like that? So I thought brilliant strategy on Glover's part. Just beautiful. What did you think of the whole thing?
When I heard the word May, I was bummed. I was like, oh no, because it's already been over. I think it's been 6 months or so since Yuri fought, right? It feels like it's been
May, right? Was it May or March?
I'll call that 6 months.
Fight.
Yeah, it's been a while. So it's gonna be over. It could be up to like 9, 10 months before Yuri fights again, between his last fight and now. But yeah, I hope the fight happens. I want it to be sooner. I hope the UFC can push some more money toward Glover Teixeira and make that fight sooner. I'm hoping sometime, February, maybe the Super Bowl weekend. That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, if Yuri wants to fight again, that's risky. It's really just a financial decision for him, I would think. I hope it's sooner. I don't want to wait till May. That would suck because just a lot of things can happen. And Glover's gonna be older. I mean, he'll be older. It's just like he's
he'll be 42 and a half.
42 and a half. I mean, yeah. I don't. Now that Glover's winning all his fights, everything he says seems like a genius move, I guess. Those things. When you're losing fights, it's just like, oh, you're just talking. Now that he wins, it's like, oh, that was a good move. That was smart.
I think that was planned. I think it was planned a little bit. I think part of it's true anyways, but just the way he presented it in Yuri's face, it was just so picture perfect.
But how many times have we heard fighters kind of say, oh, I'll fight in 6 months, but the UFC's like, we want you to fight, 2 weeks from now. Well, maybe not champions, but, they want to fight a little sooner. And I don't know if Glover has I don't know if he has the pull with the UFC to kind of stretch it out that long, but hopefully we see him sooner. That's all.
We'll see what happens. Great win. Jan Blachowicz, of course, AK. Champions mentality. Went to the press conference, answered all the questions. Could tell he didn't really want to be there, but he still went there. He faced the music. It doesn't get much better than that. Where does he go from here? Because I think we're both in agreement. The immediate rematch thing is just not going to happen. Even after beating Israel Adesanya, it's just not going to happen. Yuri's next. Go back to the drawing board. What do we do? And what did you make of Jan? His performance? Did he seem a little off? I know that was a big narrative heading out, but just the way he's handled it all in defeat.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was a little off, but I don't know if he's going to pin it on anything specific. We always talk about how fighters have one of the most difficult jobs because they fight 3 or 4 times a year max. If it's not your day, it's not your day. And if it's not your day in a big title fight, it's not your day. This isn't like other pro sports, like baseball. You play 162 times a year. You could have 4 bad games in a row, and you're like, oh, well, guess what? I have 20 games coming up in the next month. I'll be fine. I can sort it out. MMA, you don't get that chance. If you're even off a little bit, and this isn't taking away from anything that Glover did. It's, again, every title fight in history, I'm sure the loser could say, I wasn't at my best. I wasn't at my best. So the winner can't control that. It's a fine quality win for Glover Teixeira. He beat the best light heavyweight in the world. So yeah, I don't know if anything was off with Jan, or because like you said, he just didn't feel like himself, and who knows what it was. It could be time zone. He's just I got the style of opponent. It could be something he ate this morning. It could have been something wrong with the weight cut. You don't know, and it could be all those things combined. And he'll probably never know exactly what it was. There's probably isolate a few things. He'll never know. Why did I fight so poorly? Why did I go down in the second round? Why did I tap? Why was the choke get in so quick that I had to tap within seconds of it being put in? There's just no way to know. But as for what's next for him, kind of to follow up on what you guys just said, if I'm him, I'm trying to get in soon. He does sound like he wants to take some time off, and he deserves it. I understand that. Again, he's an older fighter too. But if he wants to really undercut Yuri, if this May thing is true, get back in there. He should fight a Rakic or fight an Ankalaev. He gets a big finish or impressive win against one of those guys. Then he calls for the rematch. Then if you're Yuri, you're really sweating. Then you're like, oh, crap. Like, I have to fight. That's what I was going to say when you guys were asking, what should Yuri do next? He also should fight. It sucks. He was an alternate for this fight. That should earn him an automatic title shot. But if he can't wait until next May, and he probably shouldn't, I don't think the division is going to stop moving. So someone could easily take a spot. And then if someone gets injured, gosh, it delays it even further. So yeah, everyone's got to stay busy. That's pretty much my take on it. There's no waiting till next May if that's what Glover is planning to do.
205 is interesting. It's as interesting as it's been in a long time. It is. It's compared to the other divisions, it's not that interesting, but it's still it's interesting as it's been in a long time. Casey's rolling his eyes, but you know what I mean by that. Like 205 has not been interesting in a long, long time.
And now it is. And I think it is now. I'm big into belts changing. I know everyone. People complain when there's a dominant champion. People complain when there's not, like when the championship rotates all the time. They kind of complain all the time about it. I like the 205 division now. I think it's got old guys and young guys. That's why I like. You got the up and comers. The Prohaskas, the Rakic's, and you have the oldest dudes with Glover Teixeira at the top. That's awesome. It's a great story. But what is this thing about Yan looking bad? To me, maybe I'm Mr. Positive today. I thought maybe because I thought Glover was going to win. I was kind of pretty confident in that. Maybe I thought Glover just looked like himself, and I thought he was always the better fighter than Yan. Do you really think Yan was just had like an off night and he wins that fight 9 out of 10 times type of thing, or is it just when you lose?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that at all. I just say he didn't look good. He didn't look good. He didn't look good. And again, that's probably because of Glover,
the person across the cage.
Yeah, that's to Glover's credit, not because of just because of whatever Yan couldn't perform. He didn't look good tonight. But again, like I said, you can make excuses for any fight, and that's not what I'm doing here for Jan Blachowicz. And I don't think he wants to either. He just says he wasn't himself. He didn't say why. He didn't say, oh, I would have beaten Glover on any other day. He didn't say anything like that at the post-fight press conference. Because again, we don't. All that matters is they fought tonight. Glover won, and if they never fight again, that's how it's always going to be.
The takedown was huge. Takedown was absolutely massive
in the first round.
And
the first round takedown.
Yeah, and the grueling, grimy, the can openers and the shoving the floor.
Yeah, when he had that head. Yeah, he pulled the head open.
That was. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of poo-poo sometimes the commentary for the UFC, but I thought Felder and DC and Anik did just a great job the whole night with 15-something.
Tonight.
There wasn't one moment tonight where I was going, oh boy. I thought tonight they nailed it, and I thought maybe it was DC that said when he got that takedown, he was just like, that is big. That is a big deal when he got that takedown within the first, 30 seconds of the fight or something like that. And I thought those guys did a great job tonight with all those fights. So I want to applaud that.
Yeah, great job by the commentary team. I think DC might have had a little extra juice with some of the Khabib associations.
Oh, yeah, well.
So Khabib's buddies and teammates. So he was a little more invested for like half the fights on the card.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. Some people are like, what? Like, should he even be commenting on these fights when he's like, he is trained with a lot of these guys. He's friends with a lot of these guys. I didn't mind it tonight. I'm not saying it's not an issue. Certainly, I could see why people wouldn't want a commentator to have that potential bias. But I think, as you said, Casey, tonight commentary was just really good.
Yeah, good analysis. Good. Yeah.
14 fight card, long fight card. The energy was great. The analysis was great. So good. Well done, Cormier, Felder, and excellent. Oh, and of course, what's his name? I'm sorry, Jim.
Dean Thomas.
No, I'm sorry. He was doing the sideline reporting today. Our British Jim. What's his
name?
John.
John. Yeah.
John Gooden. I'm sorry, his name is John Gooden was excellent as well today.
Nailed it. Okay.
We missed him so much I forgot his name. That's
by the way, just real quick before we move on from the commentary, you mentioned DC. He was a little animated for his guys. Did you know that Paul Felder had a teammate on this card? Did you even realize it? Andre Petrosky.
Oh.
And you didn't know it, did you? Because Paul Felder does such a great job of ignoring it. Like, you had no idea. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't even have known. Just the way he called it. Such a difference when Felder calls his teammates fights and when DC calls his teammates fights. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if one of my teammates fought and I'm on color commentary, I don't know how I would be. I'd probably favor him a little bit more. I'm with DC in a lot of ways, but Felder just does such a great job of keeping that out.
If I was doing commentary on Casey's upcoming fight, I'd be shouting like I'd be the rip his D off guy. Rip his D, rip off his D. Casey, why aren't you ripping off his D more? Twist it. So I like I said, I applaud them because I would not be able to contain myself.
Because we're not gonna really talk about it. Can we talk about what was the guy's name? Petrosky? How do you say his name?
Jay Petrosky. Yeah.
Petrosky's opponent. Hu
Yaozong.
3-3. I saw your tweet. Can you kind of break down his UFC notoriety now?
I believe. I should credit this person on Twitter. So I'm sorry. There's a Twitter user who I'll credit in a second who reminded me. So one of two fighters. I was asking if he was the first, but there's one of two fighters to start off 0-3 in the UFC at 3 different weight classes. He started as a heavyweight, then fought at light heavyweight, and then that was like 3 years ago, and came back, completely changed to middleweight, and lost again. So 0-3. The other, Jerome Rivera, who fought at bantamweight, then flyweight, then featherweight. So that was a weird one. So and he started off 0-3 and actually went 0-4 before being released. So kind of a weird historical footnote. And but at least Jerome Rivera had a better record before joining the UFC. Hu Yaozong, after that loss, is now 3-3. as a professional.
And oh my god, I'm like, I can't believe I picked him to win this fight too. I was like, I don't know, whatever. Man, like looking at the 3 guys he beat to get into UFC, 0-1 debut and 2-3. Why was this guy in the UFC? Well, I know why, but
I think he was I believe he was a product of the Shanghai Performance Center. So they must have thought that there was really, let's.
Something,
but I mean, they gave him
right.
some really. Petrosky's a super tough opponent. If you're trying to build a guy up, I don't know why you'd put him with Andre Petrosky. That was a very strange choice.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
Yes. There you go. And Jerome Rivera at least got a win on the Contender Series, so justified. All right, so that was the main event. AK, we got ourselves a classic. I always call the bantamweight division the intercontinental, the bantamweight title, the intercontinental title. Interim intercontinental title was on the line, and this fight delivered. Petr Yan versus Cory Sandhagen. In the end, 49-46. All 3 judges scored it for Petr Yan. I also scored it 49-46. But again, and I tweeted this out, the scorecards are not indicative of how close this fight actually was. Because if you look at the actual stats, some of the rounds favor Cory Sandhagen, but it just depends on how you score rounds. Damage is always the number one priority. That's something we've all had to sort of learn and live with. That's kind of the universal judging at this point. Damage trumps all, and I felt that Petr Yan landed the more damaging strikes in rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5, and Sandhagen won the first. That's how I scored it. How did you score it? And just your thoughts on such a tremendous, tremendous matchup for the interim bantamweight title.
Yes, first shout-outs to @WrestleJamia on Twitter for the Jerome Rivera tidbit. But that was one of the best fights of the year, indisputably. Again, I'll have to look back at. In my mind, I'm thinking it's the best fight of the year because I just watched it. It was. We thought it was going to be a spectacular striking battle. It was exactly that. Cory Sandhagen winning the first round only made it more intriguing. I think a lot of us knew that Yan has dropped, the opening round, like one of the opening rounds before. Jose Aldo, there was definitely moments in that fight early on when Aldo was winning, but Yan has that gift of, boy, once he gets those lasers locked in, you can see his gears just change. And man, by the third or fourth round, he was countering everything, every unorthodox movement that Cory Sandhagen tried to make. He would run into a Yan strike. It was unbelievable. Like it's just I think you'd really have to slow it down to appreciate it. But even in real time, I think everyone watching was having so much fun. And that's what made it a great fight. I had it 49-46 for Yan, but the second round, very close. And even the third round, I would give it comfortably to Yan, but it wasn't like he blew Sandhagen away in the third round. It was competitive. So yeah, definitely people are going to look at the 49-46 and say, why didn't the judges give one more round to Cory? But 3 and 4 were the real runaway rounds for Yan. And then 2 was close. 1 Sandhagen won. So it was a good competitive fight. The scores don't, the judges were great. The judges I think they scored it perfectly. And I don't think they should be criticized for. We're loving everybody tonight. Commentary team, judges, every referee on the card. I mean, I don't think we're going to mention any referees in the card who did a bad job. So just top to bottom, good stuff. But yeah, one of the best fights of the year. And we'll talk about it more in the rankings later this week. But boy, if there was any question from jamokes like me that Petr Yan was the number 1 bantamweight in the world, pretty sure he's the number 1 bantamweight in the world.
Yes. Your thoughts, Casey? I mean, catch as catch can, kind of a 135-pound fight. This is everything we hoped it would be and more, for being honest. Yan gets it done. Seems like we're going to get Sterling Yan 2 for the undisputed title. Just a great fight. Your thoughts overall?
I think we're all kind of in agreement. It's just a super good fight. Just A-level fighters fighting at their best. That's all. Just in the best and to me the best weight division in all mixed martial arts. I was super excited about this fight. I was super excited when it was booked, and the fight absolutely delivered. Oh, I got to ban someone on the comment. You are banned. Oh my goodness, you are gone, sir.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a great fight, man. Petr Yan exceeded my expectations tonight. He had, I know he doesn't fight like Anderson Silva, but he has that thing where he will kind of almost give a round away because he is studying you and breaking you down, and he gets stronger. And he doesn't get stronger throughout the fight. He figures you out. And all your tricks and little moves and strategies you had planned through training camp, by 8 minutes into the fight, he's like, all right, I know what you're doing. And then he takes over. And he's just an exciting fighter. And he's so tough, covers up so well defensively. He just incredibly defensively, and and when he throws, he hits hard and he wants to hurt you. And everything Sandhagen gave him, he ate it and then gave it back harder. And it was just great fight. I just get so excited when you have a fight you really want to see between the best fighters in the world and actually lives up to the expectations. Like as great as Glover winning, I wish it was a more competitive fight just because, you want to see that. So, but we got that in this fight, in the bantamweight fight, so it was super duper. But I would like to talk about the score a bit. I'm going to be a bit of a rogue journalist, and if this was in Pride, no doubt Petr Yan was the better fighter. But if we go round by round, which I hate doing, I think that's stupid, I actually scored it for Cory Sandhagen. And and if we go by statistics, which I will bring up here, where's my little thing? I don't know how well you can guys read that. I did score round 1, 3, and 5. Was it round 3?
Maybe 2, not 3. 3 and 4. 3 and 4 were the most definitive.
3 and 4 was yeah. I did. I think it was 2 and 5. Round 1's 2 and 5. Yeah. I think those could have gone to Cory with the different judges. Statistically, he landed more significant strikes, more total strikes in both those rounds. So if it wouldn't have gone to Cory, I wasn't going to be shocked. But I just think it's interesting. I think even the commentators did point out when that head kick landed in the 5th round. To me, I thought that was the crowd really helped push Yan. It made that kick look a lot harder because that kick was off foot. That's why when it landed, it made the big slap sound, and that's why Cory was all like, "That was nothing. That was just the top of the foot. That's for a high level fighter. That's nothing." But it did make a lot of noise. The crowd reacted as if it was like a giant head kick, and I get it. That's just and judges react on that. But I do think Yan was the better fighter, and I have no issue with the decision because I respect the Pride scoring system, which judges the whole fight, and Yan was the better. He did the more damage as a whole. His rounds he won were bigger and more dominant.
But even without the Pride scoring system, I think in the rounds where Cory landed more, Yan was still landing the heavier shots.
I understand.
So
I understand.
And that's the first criteria. So significant stats can be very deceptive because significant stats are not all created equal, right? Like someone could land 2 haymakers like that just rock their opponent in a round, and let's say the other guy lands like 10 like pitter-patter leg kicks. It's going to look like 2 significant strikes versus 10 significant strikes in a fight.
And part of fighting, and this is what Petr Yan's really good at, is you went out for a bit. Part of fighting, which Petr Yan is good at, when he does get hit, he doesn't show it. He doesn't he get hit hard. Yes. He doesn't back up or go like, whoa, oh boy, let me restart. He gets hit hard and just kind of walks right through it. So for the judges, it might be an incredibly damaging strike, but they will never know that. And that's one thing that makes Petr Yan a championship, just a future all-time great bantamweight. Is because when he gets those big shots hit him, he just walks right through them like it was nothing. So way to work the judges, which is part of the game. I'm saying work the judges like it's a bad thing, but that is part of the game. Is you get hit hard, it doesn't hurt. You just play it off. And I think even the commentators mentioned that. But one unfortunate things for Cory is that since he's so light-skinned, everything that touches him kind of shows up welts and everything. So it's just unfortunately it's a bad look for fighters, but that's you fight with the hand you're dealt with.
By the way, Casey, someone is saying you jinxed my boy. Didn't you pick Glover on the I know you changed. I knew you picked Glover.
I picked Glover
with us. You picked Glover and on the preview show, right?
Yeah, I picked Glover
and on the pre-fight. Okay, you did pick Glover.
I've been picking Glover all week. Yeah, I've been picking Glover and Cory all week. Yeah,
you did the whole. I've picked against Yan every time. And
finally came through. I broke the curse. Yeah,
that's right.
And just think we have to look forward to at 135 right now. We got Rob Font, Jose Aldo coming up December 4th. That's a big one, especially if Rob Font wins. We got Jan Sterling 2, which I'm hoping happens like in February. I think that if you're going to do Adesanya Whitaker 2, Sterling Jan 2 on that card would be a tremendous co-main event. Then we got TJ Dillashaw, who will face the winner of that. And then, I mean, it's just the types of matchups that are in store for us. It's just unbelievable. And there's still so many. Like, we got guys like Marab. We got so many 35ers, like 1 through 30, that are all really good, that are climbing the ranks. It's just very exciting time to be a fan of the Intercontinental Bantamweight division, the most fun division in the sport right now. I'm not saying it's like the best, but is the deepest, no doubt about it.
Worldwide across all promotions. One, Ryzen, Bellator, UFC, obviously. Just so many awesome 135ers. When did this happen? Like, all of a sudden, I swore within the last year and a half, it's like, oh my God, 35 is the division. It just took a little time, and it became the thickest division. It's awesome.
So good. So great wins there for both those gentlemen. Islam Makhachev, great win. He is on to something big. If you throw him into a title fight, I'm not going to complain. I don't think he's going to get a title fight. People are giving me crap about it, saying, how dare you dismiss Islam Makhachev and just say he's definitely not going to get a title shot. Crazy things are going to happen for Islam to get into a title fight. There's going to have to be an injury, and like everything's going to have to fall into place perfectly for Islam to fall into a title shot for his next fight. There are a lot of options for him. He just needs one win inside the top 5, and he's in. One win. You beat Beneil Dariush, you beat Gaethje, or you beat Chandler, or you beat the loser Poirier Oliveira. You beat any one of those guys, and it's a guarantee. No one's going to question it. You have done everything possible to get a title shot. And he could very well be the best 155-pounder in the world. If you told me that, I'm not going to argue with you. But AK, just looking at that performance, Dan Hooker, who just fought not long ago, is a gamer, was the biggest underdog on the card. I think he was ranked number 6 or 7 heading into this fight. After that performance, does Islam just jump everybody else? Like, would you just throw him into a title fight at this point, no matter what happens in these big 55 fights coming up? Like, has he earned that, or does he need one win? Does he need one top 5 win? Because he does not have that right now.
Ideally, he should, but I think again, I've been saying it all week that I think this, and he said again, I'm probably just playing off of what Islam said, but he's right. If Chandler wins and Oliveira wins, I don't think they run that rematch back right away. I don't think that they make him fight Gaethje or Dariush. If not only because I don't think he needs to, but also same management, right? I think the management of those guys would rather that to keep them all alive rather than because if Dariush just doesn't fight, he's probably still in line for title shot, or can get a different opponent somewhere down the road that's not as tough as Islam to keep his title fight hopes alive. Gaethje, even if he loses to Chandler, he's such a fan favorite. He's never more than one win away from fighting for the title. People would love to see him fight Charles Oliveira. So again, you don't want him fighting Islam. So that's two guys who I don't think, if their shared management is doing the right thing, is going to make them face one another. I know that sucks. I'd love to see all these guys fight each other, but I think we know how the game works. I think unless it is for the title itself, they're going to avoid matching their aces up. So it's just I just don't think it's going to happen. So ideally, the Chandler wins, Oliveira wins, and I think Makhachev slides right in there. I don't think it's as crazy, and I don't think he needs the perfect circumstances. I just think he needs a couple of the fights to go that way. That said, if Gaethje wins, then I think Makhachev definitely has to fight someone else. Probably not Dariush. They probably keep them apart. But yes, one more win. Gaethje is getting the title shot, obviously, if he beats Chandler.
If I'm Islam, I'm getting on that December card. If there's a spot open, get on there. Call out Dariush. I think Dariush said he wanted to get in before the end of the year after becoming a dad. Fight that fight. Dariush is ranked number 3 in the division right now. Beat him. It's a no-brainer. No matter what happens in that title fight, you're next in line. And honestly, no matter what happens in Gaethje Chandler, like if he goes in there and it just starches Dariush and stops him in the first round, you give him the title fight over Gaethje. You just do at that point. There you go. He's got. I would like to see him get a top 5 win though. I would like to see one top 5 win, and that's a no-brainer. Because if you look at Dariush's resume, I mean they're pretty close. They beat a lot of the same guys, and the only real outlier between the two is Dariush steamrolled Tony Ferguson, who was ranked higher than Dan Hooker when they fought, and then Islam beat Dan Hooker, who took the fight on short notice. Let me ask you this, Casey. If Islam did this to RDA, would it have more impact?
I think it's the same, honestly. I think the dominant. If Islam would have had a 3-round decision victory over Hooker, maybe the impact isn't the same as having a 3-round decision victory over RDA. But the fact that he just I mean, the way he rolled through Dan Hooker was just. I mean, for Dan Hooker, that just sucks. That's just. I mean, you've kind of heard his story. Like, he doesn't really know when he's coming back to New Zealand because of the way the quarantine flights work and everything. And he took a big gamble, more of his personal life, and spending time with being with his family. But this was a big opportunity, and it, unfortunately, it failed miserably. And for Dan Hooker, two big pay-per-view opportunities and high-profile fights failed miserably for him. If Islam does this to RDA, I think it's the same, honestly. Where is RDA? Is he injured, or is he out for a while? I mean, can they still rebook that fight? Does he need to beat RDA to get the title fight? I mean, rather than Dariush?
No, I think he's way beyond RDA.
Yeah, me too. That's why I don't think the RDA Hooker thing really matters, because if you want to say, oh, he beat Hooker, okay, but he still got to beat RDA. But I think we're kind of over that. So I feel, I just feel it's old news now. Honestly, I forgot RDA was the original opponent, because Islam's just complete domination. Like, Hooker kind of had 20 years to prepare for this fight. Well, it would have lasted maybe 10 seconds longer. I don't know.
Of course, Dan Hooker, absolute legend, on Twitter, posted a GIF of Woody Harrelson crying and then taking like $100 bills and drying his tears. Like, just the way you should handle it. I didn't think it was that risky for him. This is low risk, big reward. He goes in there, his stock rises no matter what. Him just walking into that octagon tonight to fight this guy on short notice was a win in everybody's eyes. Dan Hooker's a legend, win or lose. If he got submitted in 12 seconds, it wouldn't have made any difference in the way people view Dan Hooker. So good stuff from Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be more positive and think that way, but I just don't think that's going to be true a few months from now. I just don't think people will remember the short notice part, the part that you filled in. It's just you lost, you lose the big fights, and I think of that moment when a reporter asked Dan Hooker, like, are you the new Donald Cerrone? He was kind of like, without being rude, he's like, no, I'm Dan Hooker. I'm not, because Donald Cerrone kind of became known as this guy that loses the big fight, and I don't think Hooker is not that guy, but I mean, if he loses again in another big, if he works his way back and loses another big fight, that's a spot he doesn't want to be in. And we love Dan Hooker, but like, I don't want him to kind of be this high level gatekeeper. And unfortunately, he might be, because there has to be one.
Yeah. Can we look at some of the killers he is? So he just fought.
Oh, I know. His resume is insane. Yeah.
Michael Chandler, obviously, Dustin Poirier, Paul Felder, who he beat, Ala Aquinta, who he beat, Edson Barboza, he lost to, Gilbert Burns at lightweight, Jesus Murphy, Jim Miller. And then that's not everyone, but that's like some of his last like 8 opponents. And ever since COVID hit, like, now if anyone says I'm making excuses, I am 100% making excuses now. I have no idea how Hooker has been doing all this traveling, being in quarantine, dealing with the New Zealand, to the point where the City Kickboxing Gym is talking about moving out of New Zealand. So they've had restrictions of how they're able to train in their own friggin' gym. The visa issues he had the hack press fight, which he won. Mm-hmm. I bet if he himself, he probably hasn't even thought about it. When he looks back on the last like 18 months or ever since COVID started about like his training routine, I'd be surprised if he had one. He is the Dan Hooker has been facing every fighter faces adversity, but Dan Hooker's definitely has faced some unique adversity in the last 18 months. It's just completely crazy.
He took the number 1 lightweight in the world, according to the rankings that matter in the sport, to the limit in one of the best fights of the year last year in an empty UFC Apex. That fight was ridiculous. Dan Hooker took Dustin Poirier to the absolute limit.
But what sucks about that? That was great for us entertainment wise. But Dan Hooker is still a human. He still is a body, and he is he that same fighter? Can that same Dan Hooker? Can he take Dustin Poirier to the limit today? Well, not literally today, but it's like, is he still, or like, when we think of like Carlos Condit versus Robbie Lawler, when we see these 25-minute wars, there is a price to pay. And I'm being positive. I hope there isn't long-term effects on Dan Hooker, from those insane fights. The Felder fight too. Luckily this fight is Islam took it down, and it wasn't what I was fearing. It wasn't, 15 minutes of him just, getting little shots and just, little concussions for 15 minutes. Luckily, he came out of this fight just with, did he get choked? Or was it arm? What?
No, I was going to say, if it was up to him, he would have had his arm or his shoulder dislocated.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he tapped. I don't think he tapped or verbally tapped. I think the referee
ref
saw that he
saved
was
him.
dead. Yeah, the referee saw he was dead to rights and was like, yes, I could let him continue torquing your arm another few degrees, but why? Why? So
Yeah.
I think Dan Hooker's like was maybe mad in the moment. I don't think he's that. Like you said, I don't think he's that mad now.
Oh, was that? Oh yeah, was that the whole Dan Hooker being
He
kind of
did seem
upset?
upset,
I wasn't sure
like
what
I
that,
didn't
what that was
submit.
about.
But he wasn't like super upset. I think he also knew like, man, I was screwed.
Oh, he
Like,
was
I
screwed.
wish
He
I-
was definitely screwed.
Like,
yeah.
I think he was kind of like, man, I wish like I'd been able to like given a couple more seconds and like been allowed to tap out or to verbally submit. But his hand was caught under his other hand was caught under his body, so he could not tap out. It would have had to have been a verbal submission, and I don't think he's ever going to say I quit. So that arm was just going to snap. So in addition
I was
to all the other
preparing
damage,
for the worst thing.
Oh,
To
yeah,
It was-
they had a camera angle on it. I was just like,
Yeah, right on it.
Tap,
referee
tap,
was
tap.
like not in position at all. He was like
Yeah.
behind it, couldn't see the other hand. I was like, oh no, please stop this. And then luckily the ref
Yeah.
stopped it. I was like, oh,
He
Dan
saw
Hooker
something,
verbally
yeah.
tapped. He did.
Oh yeah, you know,
Mistaken.
sorry, I also forgot. Sorry, talking about damage. I forgot, but the Barboza fight, how much damage Hooker has taken to his body
That was horrific.
in these fights. So, you know, Mr. Dan Hooker, yeah, wipe with the money, take some time off, go home, rest, and I know it's a fight game, but man, I just want Dan Hooker to fight a couple of gentlemen outside of the top 10, you know, top 15, and
Casey,
I know it doesn't work
Casey,
that
don't
way.
be-
I want to
don't
fight the
be a-
best. I
Don't be a
always wanna
soy boy.
I know.
Don't be a soy boy. I thought now that you were a real MMA fighter,
I know,
your
I
soy
know.
boy tendencies would have been beaten out of you, and yet here you are. Oh, I don't want the fighters. to
head
get
trauma.
hurt.
I care about
I
their
want
lives outside of the cage.
I want them to be properly paid. Oh, the Zaleski Saint Denis fight should have been stopped. Oh no, that referee did a terrible job. Come on, man. Come on, this is MMA, man. God, I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry.
Guilty.
Let's continue on. There's a couple other things I want to talk about before we go to the peeps. I want to run.
Oh,
I do
geez.
want to shout out all the winners. Ulanbekov split decision. That was a fun fight with Alan Nascimento. Andrei Petrosky, nice win. Lerone Murphy, great knockout over Mako and Amir Khani. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, beautiful uppercut, finishes Shamil Gamzatov. That's the first loss of Gamzatov's career. Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, unanimous decision. Ridiculous. We'll talk about that. I'm sure we'll get questions about it. Albert Duraev beats Roman Kopylov. Duraev got tested a lot more than a lot of people thought he would. Zubair Tukagov, Ricardo Ramos, good fight. Good win for Tukagov. Amanda Hebas, you almost forgot, beats Verna Jandiroba. That was a great performance.
Looked
Magomed
fantastic.
Ankalaev, definitely a title contender. But how about Khamzat Chimaev? I'll come on these shows once in a while and I'll make these picks and I'll put a foot in my mouth. I put like 2 feet and 2 elbows in my mouth, thinking that Li Jingliang was going to go in there. He's going to weather that storm, and he was going to finish Khamzat Chimaev in the 3rd round. And I was so confident in that pick until I saw Khamzat Chimaev body lock Li Jingliang, carry him across the octagon while talking to Dana White at the same time. Just so confident, just slams him down, doing whatever he wants. And at that point, I'm just like, wow. I don't think I've ever been more wrong in my entire career, because this was not going to go much better for Li Jingliang. There's no storm to be weathered after that. He completely took him out of that fight mentally. There's nothing you could do once that happens to you. And Khamzat just goes out there 3 minutes later and just puts Li Jingliang to sleep. This dude is the real deal. People don't want to believe it at times, but this guy is the real deal. And if you want to throw him into a title fight right now, go right ahead. I am not going to stop you at this point. This guy, I want to see him fight everybody. I want to see him fight everybody in the top 10 at 70. I want to see him fight everybody in the top 10 at 185, AK. I am so excited to see this guy fight. I am more sold on him now than I ever have been, and it's not even close.
Listen, I tweeted this earlier. Usman, once you dispose of Covington, you should be trying to get Chimaev now, because I think Chimaev is not as not at the I think he's going to get even better. I think you get him now, and I think Usman has a very good chance of beating him. A year from now, I don't know. It could be a different story. And again, maybe any version of Usman beats Chimaev. I don't know, but boy, this guy really captures your imagination with his performances and makes you feel like he could beat anybody. Say what people want about the matchups, like, oh, I want to see him face a wrestler. I want to see him face a better grappler. Blah. The tests he's faced so far, he has passed with the most flamboyant flying colors that you can possibly imagine. He looks like he's unstoppable. Again, if he fights a great wrestler someday, maybe he won't be. I don't know. But right now, the first 4 fights, how can you not be excited? How can you not think he's a world caliber welterweight. And if I'm Usman, I beat Covington and I say, give me Chimaev now. Everyone's talking about Khamzat Chimaev. Give me him now. Khamzat will jump right on it. And then boom, Usman takes out one of the hottest names at 170 and possibly nips that in the bud before Chimaev becomes, I don't know, the next GSP or something. He's so talented. It's insane.
So to AK's point, because I think you make a lot of sense. Like if you're going to fight this guy, you fight him now. And I know that Dana was asked about it at the press conference and other people mentioned on Twitter, like, who's going to be excited to fight this guy? If you're going to fight Khamzat, I agree with AK. You got to fight him right now. So, Casey, if you are, let's just throw some names out there. If you're Bilal Muhammad, if you're Michael Chiesa, if you are anybody at 170, if you're Sean Strickland at 185, if you're Wonder Boy, if you're Gilbert Burns, if you're Nate Diaz, is everybody calling out Khamzat right now? Like, if you're going to get him now. Are we all going after this cash cow at this point? Because the UFC is going to push this dude to the moon at this point. Do we just go after him now and just try to take him out? It's like Royal Rumble style. Like when Kane comes in, all 10 guys in there want to throw him out of there. I feel like that's where Khamzat's at right now. If you're going to try to get him, you try to get him now. Get that payday before he becomes something else, because he's only going to get better.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It reminds me a bit when Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo, and Floyd even said, this is Floyd's whole buildup. Floyd was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna be really good. I'm gonna fight him now," and he beat Canelo. But Canelo, now that Canelo's at his prime, I think he would whoop up on Floyd in his prime. But that's why Floyd was undefeated. He knew how to pick his fights, and yeah, I think you guys are right. Fight him now. Either fight him now or change your phone number. That's it. Just don't answer any calls from Mick Maynard or whoever's the matchmaker. Just nope, never, not gonna fight him. I think Chimaev should. I mean, he's got to be. I mean, what was Lee ranked in our ranking? Like he was in top 15, right?
He was not top 15, but he did get votes. He did get votes.
Okay, but regardless, Chimaev's dominance in those victories, I think you could justifiably easily put him in the top 10 just because of his domination that he had. Mm-hmm. And if you're anyone in front of him, man, just you ask, whatever your contracted price for the UFC, ask for a little extra to face that guy. That's all, because he is gonna be a big pain in the butt. Man, but I didn't even think about Sean Strickland. As far as like quick turnarounds going to 85, ooh, that's fun.
And two people who want to commit an actual murder. Yeah. That's
tremendous stuff. It's only 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Geez Louise, the future is very bright on him.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the fence. Go ahead, Casey. No, I was on the fence about him. I believe the hype that the UFC was giving him. I wasn't like, I can't believe they're pushing this guy. When the UFC pushes Greg Hardy, I'm like, this is stupid. I got why they're pushing Chimaev. Like, that made sense. But with, of course, the long layoff, the illnesses, and just him not facing the top guys, I just wasn't 100% sure. I mean, I did pick Lee to win by decision. I thought it was going to be a competitive decision. I love being wrong, and I love that we have a new star, so this is super exciting.
I got to ask
the rankings.
AK. I got to ask this AK real quick because it's on my mind. I just smirked thinking about it. AK, if you're Leon Edwards, what are you thinking right now? Are you worried? Are you concerned that even if you go out there, and you 30-27 Jorge Masvidal, are you feeling good about it?
Like I said, it depends if Usman does decide to campaign for Khamzat. I don't know if he's thinking about that. This is just kind of saying what we would do if we were him, and like we said, like do the Mayweather catch a guy out of his prime thing. Usman might not be thinking about a matchup with Chimaev at all. Could be totally off his radar. I doubt that's the case. He's pretty savvy. I think he's very aware that Khamzat is coming. He probably is aware of what happened in this fight. So if you're Edwards, I wouldn't be super worried. Even if he wins like a competitive decision against Masvidal, I think at this point he can't be denied, unless Usman gets on the mic himself and tries to manipulate sort of who his next challenger is. Then it's all out the door. But otherwise, shouldn't be too worried. But I wanted to make a note about the rankings. we mentioned where does Khamzat go now? You said you would put him top 10 just based on his performances. I think I might too. So going from the bottom of our rankings real quickly, I would put him above. We have 3 people tied for 15, so I'm going to mention a few names here. I would put him above Jason Jackson in Bellator. I'd put him above Rory McDonald. I'd put him above Jeff Neal. I'd put him above PFL champion Ray Cooper. I'd put him above him. I'd put him above Bilal Muhammad. I'd put him above Douglas Lima, which sounds crazy. But I think I would put him above Douglas Lima.
Style-wise, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
and I'd put him above Michael Page. Then we get to our top 10. There's Neil Magny, Michael Chiesa, and I could see people making an argument that that's the next tier of guys he needs to beat. So I haven't done my, we're going to do our rankings, our next set of rankings this week. I haven't decided yet, but I see on my rankings he's at least jumping up to like the number 11 spot, which sounds insane, but is very possible.
And the most insane stat, the fact that 4 fights against professional mixed martial arts ultimate fighters, he's been hit once. How is that possible? I tie my shoes. I go, I hit myself. Like how does he do? That's insane. Yeah. And the hype is real. And he's the whole package. And he's different too. He's got. He talks trash. He has kind of the broken English, just like, I repeat, I smash. He picked up his opponent and like, he didn't go to his corner. No, I'm going over there to the guy that writes my checks. That's just like the guy sells fights while he's fighting. Unreal.
I don't know if this is on purpose, but the video guys should make the parallel video the next time they do a hype package. I feel like that was an unspoken homage to Dana White's favorite fight ever. Matt Hughes versus Frank Trigg 2, which involved Matt Hughes. I don't know if it's on purpose, but if it was, that's like the craziest thing, because then Dana White definitely was kind of just like, I love this guy. Like, I'm going to this guy. If Usman calls for this guy, that fight is happening.
I could see that. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that.
And if I'm a guy like Daniel Rodriguez right now, who's ready to come back in early 2022, I'm shouting from the rooftops to try to fight this guy too, because you're a surging guy you just beat Kevin Lee. I mean, go for it. Like, so many fun options.
For someone like Rodriguez, the guys who should be calling out Chimaev are the guys who are expected to get their ass kicked, I think, by him. Even I think Nate Diaz should be calling out Chimaev, because I don't think I love Nate Diaz as just as a figure in the sport, but of course I'm picking Chimaev to kick Nate Diaz's ass. So, and I think Nate Diaz, I think that's just a great fight. I know people are like, well, why would you do that to Nate? But that's why I like Nate Diaz. I think he wants crazy fights like this. He wants to be tested. Yeah, he'll probably get his butt kicked, but that's what Nate Diaz is about, And and if Nate Diaz on his back, let's really see, Chimaev have a serious threat from the person on the bottom, So there's so many good fights. I didn't even think about Daniel Rodriguez, but that's an awesome fight. So man, UFC's got a star. Keep him healthy.
Line him up. Line him up.
Keep him healthy.
You could do the Kevin Holland fight. There's some beef there.
There is? Oh, okay.
Some beef there. There's some stories. All right. Let's go to the peeps. We'll take a few questions.
Yep, let's do it. Oh, old one. God, that always happens. Well, what'd you think about the Dana White? The whole Fedor thing got brought up again. It's like, geez, again with Dana White and Fedor.
He held back.
But he's not saying the dang. Tell me the numbers, Dana. You go, we gave him a contract. Well, tell me the numbers. It's like, what are the numbers you gave him, man?
You watched the fight. There's no doubt in my mind that you watched Fedor's knockout. Like, the question was about the reaction to the knockout.
Yeah.
Originally.
It
could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Yeah. All right.
Scott McCrate. I think Petr Yan is going to beat everyone he faces for the next 3 years in a division that is full of killers. He is triple OG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People love him.
I mean, listen, the guy's real good.
I think of the guys right now, he has the best chance of putting together like a 3 to 4 fight title defense streak. But I don't know if anyone's sitting at the top of bantamweight for 3 years. That's a long time. A lot of stuff can happen. Maybe he gets a wild hair up his butt, decides to go to featherweight. Everyone's doing the 2 division thing now. So I don't know. I think he can. I think I'll pick him to beat Sterling now. Should that happen, and maybe the next challenger. But after that, we don't know. We got like Scott even said himself. So many killers coming up. again, Merab Dvalishvili maybe is his foil. We don't know, right? It could be a style thing. So I won't go that far. I think at least another year, maybe by the end of 2022, excuse me, he's still the champion.
He didn't really wrestle. I mean, he had a couple takedowns, but he really didn't wrestle at all, which is kind of surprising. And that just makes the performance even more impressive because I thought his wrestling down the stretch was going to be the difference, and he didn't even really need it. So, Sheila, good to hear from you. Yeah. Good morning from the Philippines. It's almost 7 a.m. here. It was a challenge, but UFC 267 definitely made it a lot easier to stay awake. I thought about this as well, Sheila. Was this the best card so far in 2021? AK.
I have the memory of a goldfish, so yes. You know why? Because I just watched it and I loved it. No, it probably isn't. It probably isn't because, I mean, it's funny. Of all the decisions, really, there was only one. Maybe the Volkov-Tybura fight was maybe the only one that was like wasn't particularly enjoyable. Otherwise, most of the decisions were pretty good. Were pretty entertaining.
They're all good fights.
I didn't mind the Volkov fight either. I mean, I liked it.
It was a heavyweight fight, so it was definitely intriguing. And again, two elite heavyweights, so that was certainly so. Best card of the year again, yeah. I mean, because I just watched it. Like again, if our dear Jose was not putting out fires in Abu Dhabi right now, I'm sure he'd have a much more comprehensive list than I would. But yeah, I can't remember a better show. But I also can't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. So
14 fights. I never felt the drag. The lad Dumont card?
Oh,
like that one felt long. Maybe I don't know. That one just felt long. This one felt like 14 fights, but I wasn't like. Ugh. What was
last
Dumont?
Week's felt long.
Was it
last
week?
Week's felt long?
Oh, maybe
too.
it was last week.
Except for the main event.
Yeah. Okay. No, it was last week's card that felt. Okay, you're right. I have a memory of a goldfish, a very tired goldfish. But I don't want to rank this as best fight of the card of the year, but it was awesome, and the fact that it was a pay-per-view worthy card. It was a card that was worth $70, and that for most of us in the US of A got for free or $5 if your subscription or whatever your ESPN Plus costs. What a great deal! Tonight was a great deal. It was good to be an American MMA fan.
Yeah, I mean it's up there. It's top 3 to 5. It's top 3 card of the year for sure. I mean, 261 was very memorable. Had some rough moments. I mean, 263 is probably going to be my number one.
Just because you gotta say the names. The numbers, I forget the numbers already. Who was the main event?
Adesanya Vettori.
Okay.
Brandon Moreno becoming the flyweight champion. Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz, especially just the last 30 seconds of that fight. Bilal Muhammad, yeah. Paul Craig, Jamal Hill was crazy. Brad Riddell, Drew Dober was a fight that's not being talked about enough for like fight of the year contender. Just some good fights. I mean, that was a good card. Terrence McKinney had that crazy knockout and then jumped off the cage. We thought he broke his leg. I mean, it's just all sorts of crazy storylines.
Great card on paper and it delivered. That's all. Great card on paper. Yep. A lot of high-ranked fighters, fights that mattered. Not just good fights, but fights that are awesome and they mattered to divisional rankings. And so, cool.
Yes, and it was early in the day. I dig that.
Not for the Philippines, though. Sorry. Good morning. Shout out to the Philippines. Good for you guys who stuck in there and woke up or stayed up to watch that.
Alex K. Lee is great now.
I answered.
Can we all agree that the real Prince of Positivity is Glover Teixeira?
I answered this.
Are you ready to give up that crown, AK?
Oh, I don't have to. I answered it in the comments already. I said, I'm the prince. Glover Teixeira is the king.
The king, yeah, there you go.
So there you go. That's all it needs to be. He's the king of positivity. I bow down to him.
Well played. Louis, are we just completely going to abandon Khamzat's best gimmick of fighting in 2 weight classes? He's fought twice in each 85 and 70. Let's keep this going. Can you think of a more exciting story? I mean, I'm with it. I'm completely with it. Just fight. If you get it at 85, get it at 70, cool. Imagine like just going up both weight classes and winning 2 titles. Like not just like, wow, you did so good at 170. Let's just give you a title fight at 185 without like ever fighting in the division. I'm talking about like just running through 2 divisions, making the climb up both of them.
Yeah.
And winning 2 titles. Like that would be that would never be done again.
Who has done that? Has the UFC even allowed that? Like a fighter to kind of go up the ranks in 2 divisions, not just be a champ and then jump over.
I don't think so.
I can't think of one
at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time, like be a contender in 2 divisions without being the champ. I think, or even a former champ. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. That would be cool.
We need to see him fight Strickland.
Dude.
Yeah, and that's unless Strickland's coming down to 170. I mean, Chimaev's got to go back up. Got to go up and get him.
Man, that would be awesome. That would be cool.
Just keep flip flopping.
That would be cool. That would be.
So many things we can do.
Yeah.
And I think that fight would have to go by Navy rules, where first one to die loses. So. And I don't think anyone would object to that.
Just the Ultimate Murder Championships. You know how it goes.
Just that one fight.
Just one fight.
Both guys.
Like,
First one to die loses. I think that's more than fair.
John Strickland would sign the
and you know what?
contract
We'll hire that ref.
Vyacheslav. I'm sure there's a question there. Vyacheslav Kiselev. My goodness. I don't know if I want to wait until there's a question about her.
Yeah.
That was so awful. We might as well just talk about it.
Can we just talk about that? Yeah, let's just talk about it. Yeah.
What the hell was that guy thinking? His team didn't throw in the towel either. And listen, I know we've talked about this before. Yeah. I know the Calvin Kattar thing gets brought up a lot. Referee didn't stop that one. But although I felt Kattar was in a much better spot than what was the young man's name? Benoit Saint-Denis?
Saint-Denis.
I thought, I mean, this dude, I scored that a 10-7 round.
You did? Okay, good. I thought it was a 10-7 round also. I scored it a 10-7.
He got, pull up the UFC stats for that round, Casey. I'm curious to see what the stats are for that round. How many strikes that man absorbed. But the referee doesn't stop it. Saint-Denis is tough as hell. Good on it. If you want to let it go, and the coach doesn't want to let him go out for a third round, great. But he got lit up immediately in the third round. Wobbled, almost went down. Right then and then, you're just like, all right, dude, you've had enough. Get out of there. You're too tough for your own good. And then he takes a point away from Zaleski dos Santos for a knee that barely grazed his cup. When I first saw the replay, I'm like, that wasn't even a low knee. He hit him in the belly. And then looking at it again, you saw it barely grazed the cup. And the referee, who doesn't stop the fight, he's literally standing there watching Zaleski dos Santos hit this dude 175,000 times in a row. Just watching it nope, still breathing. Nope, his eyes are still open. No, he's only lost 2 quarts of blood. We're going to let this thing go. But then he takes a point away. And at that point, I was ready to take my chair and throw it off the balcony. I'm like, are you friggin' kidding me right now? What is going on? What are you thinking, AK, watching this whole thing? Because I know everybody was kind of on the same page here, but I was like, come on, man. What are you doing?
It was uncomfortable, man. It was not. MMA is supposed to be fun, right? That wasn't fun. That wasn't fun to watch. And Saint-Denis is absurdly tough. I called him the French zombie. And I get it. At a glance, he was throwing back. He wasn't falling. I assume Mr. Kiselev was waiting to see if he would actually, as soon as he dropped, maybe he would wave it off. Even then, probably not. I felt like he was still going to give him a chance. But he almost had made up his mind. I'm not going to call standing KO, which is crazy because this is. People are going to say, okay, well, he was fighting back. Saint-Denis was fighting back. And it's like, okay, to our eye, yes, that's it. That's what it is. To the referee, the trained referee whose job it is to oversee the fight and protect the fighters, they have to be able to distinguish between a fighter intelligently fighting back and not intelligently fighting back, which is what the case was here. Saint-Denis is on autopilot. I guarantee you he does not remember enormous chunks of this fight. We've seen Tim Elliott talk about how he's gotten rocked in the opening round and gone the distance and does not remember the last 2 rounds. I'm telling you that is almost definitely the case with Saint-Denis. If not, again, he's even tougher than I imagined. So the referee just did a terrible job. The commentary team wanted to shout at him. They were shouting, and they almost wanted to shout directly at him to tell him to stop the fight. They resisted. It's not their job. I get it. They didn't want to have a Dan Hardy incident. That's fine. I don't blame them at all. It's not their job. It's the referee's job. Then secondarily, it's his corner. I think a lot of people failed Benoit Saint-Denis in this fight. I hope he goes on. He's a very talented guy, as we saw in this fight. I hope he goes on to rack up wins, have great success, take less damage, and this is just a footnote. But I feel like, much like with the young Max Roscoff, this is something that's going to, who, by the way, is winning fights for Cage Warriors right now, but this is the kind of incident. It's going to hang over his head for a while. And the only good news is we probably won't see Kiselev referee a UFC event ever again.
94 significant strikes landed by Zaleski dos Santos in the second round. 94. And I would say he got rocked. He probably rocked Saint-Denis with like the 5th or 6th. So we're talking like 80 like follow-up big shots after that for the rest of the round. And Saint-Denis, to his credit, was throwing back himself. But like at some point, you just got to step in there. This referee wasn't even like thinking about stopping it. Wasn't even looking at it. Didn't feint it.
It wasn't like, give me something. Wasn't doing that whole thing. Like, I'm
Nothing.
going to stop the fight. You see that boxing? I watch a lot of boxing. And, man, that would not happen in boxing. You see, first of all, the corners would never allow that in boxing. And MMA just has a different, I don't know, it's just the culture is different. I'm going to go ahead and put an equal amount of blame on his corner. I mean, I know the ref is supposed to do his job. That's part of the corner's job too. They're supposed to protect their fighter, and their fighter did not have a chance to win that fight. And you have to stop the fight. I don't know. That's just to me. It's pretty simple. The point deduction thing is another stupid story. That's another it just adds more to the stupidness and
the
danger of that fight. And there was eye poke.
the
Too.
eye poke.
There was
The
eye
eye poke.
poke.
I can't see.
Oh yeah, I
believe
forgot.
they said
he
something
said I
they
can't
couldn't see.
Then he won. He
ref-
gave him a way out. He goes, I can't see, and the ref's going. He gave him a way out. Oh,
And he
Did
didn't
not
even,
call-
not
did
even
not
that.
call
Didn't
it
even
a
call the
position.
doctor in.
Not calling the doctor to look at it. Just said so you can't see, but you can still fight. Okay. Go ahead.
Is that you can't see, but you got 2 eyes, right? All right, use your other eye, jerk.
Ugh.
I forgot about that.
Never
Wait.
again. Never again.
And then he took the point after that. I was like, this is just unbelievable.
But going to the point thing real quick, I see a lot of people, media members and fans, and they're very hard on like the whole, I kind of joke about this. I kind of joke how, groin shots and eye pokes and fence grabs are completely legal in MMA. I always joke that they're completely legal. The first one's always legal. This ref obviously doesn't obey that rule, but a lot of people think that every eye poke, every groin shot should be automatic point deduction. I don't agree to that. Do you think that after the first eye poke, do you think Dos Santos, how do you say his name? Zaleski?
Zaleski.
Zaleski.
Yeah, Dos Santos. Do you think he should have got a point? Do you think those point deductions he should have got a point deduction for the eye poke too?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
no,
I'm just kind of wondering how you feel about that. The groin shot, to me, it looked like it even hit.
And then he took a point. Yeah,
he took a point.
the whole thing was just bizarre. It just seemed like the weirdest time to take a point.
Yeah.
After the vicious beating he doled out in the second round, you let the fight go. And then thank God for Jason Herzog in the very next fight. Duraev's going for a takedown. Kopylov holds on to the cage. Herzog doesn't take the point away. He's like, all right, dude, like, I'm going to put you right back in this position. And Duraev just takes him right down and beats his ass for the round. And I mean, just and then they pulled obviously this referee from the rest of the card, which they should have, because that dude should never be allowed to referee a UFC fight ever again.
So and take in mind that's the UFC's commission, correct? That's So the UFC doesn't necessarily control the commission, but that's their internal commission. I don't know how that works anymore.
So it's something to that effect, yes.
Yeah. So, but the UFC seemed to pull him out. They can't pull him out during the fight. So the UFC seemed to do the right thing.
Yeah, it's not under like a state commission. It's like an ABC, like kind of whatever ABC like universal role they have. But basically, they commission themselves. In the long and the short of it.
All right.
All right. Well, we got anything else?
Oh yeah.
Take like 2 more, maybe.
Yeah.
Joseph Boza, is the UFC happy with Yan beating Cory? Will we get that conclusion Yan and those fans deserve with Sterling versus John 2? It's amazing how everyone's just not giving Sterling any chance at all. But yes, I would say yes. The UFC is very happy with Yan beating Cory, not just because of what it sets up with Sterling. I feel like, and maybe you don't agree with this, AK, I feel like if bantamweight, which I keep calling the Intercontinental Division because I don't feel like there's going to be any like huge breakout stars at 135. I feel like Yan is probably, if it's ever going to happen at this point moving forward, Yan is probably the guy to be that guy that could sort of carry the division and headline events, so forth and so on. So I think the UFC was happy with that for that reason as well.
Yeah, he's not like an A tier, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey level star, but there's the thing to be said about consistency, having a persona. I think he's someone who is distinct. I think his style stands out. I think he has a bit of a sense of humor. We've mentioned him kind of horsing around at the workouts. So there's something there. He's not going to be a consistent drawing 600, 700,000 pay-per-view buys every time, but the UFC doesn't need everyone to be like that. It's like you said, Mike, they need someone to anchor 12 pay-per-views a year. You know what I mean? So if they have a guy who can be either main or co-main, Jan is that guy. I think he is marketable in his own way for sure. And I think they're happy with no disrespect to Cory Sandhagen. It's just this makes things a little bit clearer to setting up the Jan Sterling rematch, which was the plan all along until Sterling had to recover from with his neck injury. So I don't know if they're over the moon with it, but definitely makes their jobs easier.
Yeah, I think happy is the wrong word. I think from a promotional standpoint, this is good promotionally wise, but I think if Sandhagen won, I don't think they would have been like, gosh darn it. It's just that's how I believe the UFC is at the point, where it's just whoever wins. I do believe Dana when he says that kind of stuff. Just before we end this, because we briefly talked about their fight, but
Jono, I hope that EKC isn't too upset after getting beat up by Hebas.
Amanda Hebas looked awesome. Amanda Hebas looked awesome tonight. I thought Verna was going to put some work on her, and Amanda, me and AK were kind of chatting online about this. But Amanda Hebas, her striking, her just overall presence as a fighter in there was. She looked like she made big improvements from. Was her last fight Marina Rodriguez? Was that her last fight? Yeah. She looked like she made big improvements, and she just looked like the better fighter in there. And I was very impressed by Amanda Hebas. And what did you guys think of her performance?
Great. She looked awesome. It was a y'all must have forgot kind of fight.
Her striking, her striking looked just. I won't say no. She's like, I'm not saying she's Joanna and like this Muay Thai champion now, but it was very competent, and she looked just controlled in there. She looked like she was comfortable striking, and
she barely got hit. She barely got hit in that fight, especially down the stretch. She barely got touched.
Shout outs to Genjiro, one for a good fight. And of course, coming out to Island Boy and making our pal, Errol Helwani, over the moon with happy. You have no, guys, you saw him tweeting about it. He's in our Slack channel. He would not shut up about it. This dude was happy. He was so happy. And it's very obviously Scott McCray asking, what is up with the Island Boys phenomenon? You guys actually like the music. It's not just about liking it. It's there. Listen,
the lifestyle.
This probably isn't. I was gonna say this probably isn't a politically correct thing to say, but those two guys they're a couple of freaks, okay, and there's just something bizarre, mesmerizing about the 90-second clip, no beat. There's this cultural appropriation going on. It's a whole thing. It's definitely not like unironic, Scott. It's not like, oh yeah, this is an amazing song. No. We are enjoying this. We are enjoying this somewhat ironically. And for a UFC fighter to come out to that song was just absurd and so funny. And she will end up on the MMA Hour wall. I don't call the shots around there, but I can tell you, Errol's a man of his word when it comes to that stuff. You're going to see that picture of Verna on there a lot.
Oh yeah, they're bringing DC down, and it's going to be Verna. DC, you're done.
That would be so funny if he took someone down and it was Cormier.
That'd be amazing.
To make room. That would be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, but super excited about Amanda Hebas' improvements. She looked awesome. She looked really good. I was super impressed.
Yeah.
Shout outs. I don't know if we're doing any more questions, but shout outs to Joe Martinez too. I know we had a question way back. Shout outs to Joe Martinez. Did a great job. Someone was asking why do some of us in the media say we think he's better than Bruce Buffer? Not everybody. I'm of that camp. I know Damon Martin is. I don't want to speak for you guys. And I'm not. It's not to say anything bad about Buffer. I think Joe Martinez does a great job with. For me, keeping the emphasis on the fighters, great pronunciation. I think he's better on average at pronouncing names than Bruce Buffer. Bruce Buffer, his energy, amazing, very difficult to match. He definitely gives things a big fight feel. We're very used to Bruce Buffer, so I don't blame anyone who loves Bruce Buffer. Bruce Buffer's there for a reason. He creates that epic feel to a fight. But I am more of a Joe Martinez guy. I like someone who's a little less distracting. To put it nicely, but I mean, both guys are great. But I thought Joe Martinez superb throughout the night, and glad he got that job. And hope Bruce Buffer's feeling well, and you guys will see him at Madison Square Garden next week.
There you go. Good stuff. Well said. There's the music. I was just waiting for it.
Yeah.
Get some sleep, everybody. I mean, actually, you don't even have to. I mean, if you're on the West Coast, like
I'm gonna go watch some baseball now. Watch some baseball.
Go out to baseball. Go out to dinner. Go see a movie.
Read a book.
Yeah. Read a book. Read a book. Hang out with the fam. Do whatever you gotta do. Walk the dog. You got plenty of time for that. But AK and I back tomorrow morning. On to the next one. We match make. It's gonna be a loaded show because we're matchmaking for a lot of people. Yeah, and then we're on to UFC 268 next week. Jose is going to the airport now to fly from Abu Dhabi to New York to cover UFC 268. So that dude is a madman. Thank you, Jose. And thank all of you for watching right now. For Casey, for AK, I am Mike Heck. UFC 267 in the books. Oh, by the way, AK, I don't even think I told you this. VTL tournament kicks off next week. You're in the first matchup.
What?
Against Damon Martin.
Oh, no. Scares me.
Stay tuned. Good night, everybody.